Some of you may have heard that I recently broke my right wrist. It happened a few weeks ago when we had gone home for a visit. I had backed my fifth wheel trailer in at Mom's house and had gotten out just long enough to greet my mom and sister. I then walked around the front of my truck to continue the process of unhooking from the trailer. The grass was wet and my truck had made some ruts, so I decided to smooth out the grass with my foot. When I did, the wet, muddy grass caused my foot to slip, and I went down, hitting my wrist on the concrete curb and breaking it in a bad way. 4 days later, I had to have surgery to put a plate and several screws into my wrist. Now, for those of you who know us, you are aware that I am the drummer of our group, so my wrist is of great value. The doctor told me that it would be 3 to 4 months before I could play the drums normal again, and several months before I could play at all. So we wondered, what are we going to do? What would we do? I didn't want to put a kink into our singing ministry, so I told the others that I would just do my best to play with my left hand and the kick tom just to keep rhythm. So we set up for our first revival, kick tom, snare. I did set up the hi-hat and a couple of crash cymbals. Sunday morning came and I did my best. Was it hard? Yes, very, very hard. My brain was wanting to tell my right hand what to do. So it had to completely reprogram itself to tell my left hand to do more than it normally would. It was a struggle, but I pushed through, giving it all that I had with one hand. After the service, an elderly gentleman walked up and began to encourage me. He too was a drummer, and he wanted me to know that he had enjoyed my playing. I was very shocked and, of course, humbled by what he said. And so I shyly replied, "Well, thank you, brother. But as you can see, I broke my wrist. I have a broken wrist, and so I was only playing rhythm with one hand, and I was very handicapped today." He looked kind of startled as he mentioned that he didn't know that my wrist was broken. After service, Diana and Sandy, they were talking that they couldn't believe their ears. Now, I want to pause here and let you know that I'm going somewhere with this. I don't want anyone thinking that I feel like I'm some kind of good drummer, because I am not. I'm simply sharing this experience with you for a reason. So after Diane and Sandy said that they couldn't believe what they had heard, of course, I wanted to know what they meant. And they both said that they had looked over to see if I was playing with both hands, and that they were shocked to see that I wasn't. They both declared, and it appears that the elderly gentleman must have heard the same thing. They said that they had heard extra beats that I know were not there. Or at least I know that I did not put them there. I was not capable of doing so. But we know who put those extra beats. The Lord either added them or He caused their ears to hear what wasn't there. Now, I, as well as the Blythe family, we struggle with great insecurities. Most people are surprised to hear that because we try hard to hide it. But talking about myself, I struggle greatly in many areas of ministry. I feel inadequate and unqualified. I feel that I lack wisdom and knowledge. I struggle with intimidation, and I could go on and on being transparent with you today. But there was one area that I had shared with Diana that I felt like a complete failure in, and she used this occasion to encourage me. She said, "Rita, if God can add in the extra beats to your drum playing, God is going to add in the extra beats to this as well." I knew that she was right, because there have been many times when the Lord has taken up the slack for my inabilities. In Psalm 18 and 29, "For by thee have I run through a troop, and by my God have I leaped over a wall. It is God that girdeth me with strength, and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me upon my high places. He teacheth my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by mine arms. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip." Now let me tie these scriptures into my thought. David was saying, I couldn't run through a troop, but by God I did it. He looked at the wall and was intimidated by it. It was too high, too wide, too great for him, but by his God, he leaped over the wall. It was God Almighty who added the extra beat and girded him with strength. He didn't say that God made his feet hinds' feet, but he made them like hinds' feet. It was still David's feet. God just added the beats. David didn't have wisdom, knowledge, or understanding to go to war with the enemy. But again, God would teach his hands to war. And I love this thought. In verse 36, he said, "Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip." This is what I see here. It's like a little boy following his dad through some soft dirt. And that little boy is putting his small feet into his father's big footprints. But with David, he couldn't see the literal footsteps of the Father clearing a path for him, but he could see the evidence that God had enlarged the platform of his feet, or he would have slipped into failure and defeat. All through David's life, he experienced the Lord adding the extra beats into his life, into his calling. Now, someone needs to hear this as I'm coming to a close today. You are insecure. You feel inadequate in the calling that God has placed upon your life. He never expected you to do it all or to accomplish it all on your own or through your own abilities. What he does expect is for you to apply yourself and to do the best you can do, then to step back and let him complete the work by adding the extra beats that you could never play on your own. May God bless you and give you his peace.